themselves. We allowed them to come over for their benefit from what they were trying to escape. But they had to still come over as indentured servants to do what they needed to do and be productive here in our nation. Then that's when the Treaty of Peace and Friendship came about in 1787. The Treaty of Peace and Friendship was done by the Union States from George Washington with our Sultan of Morocco asking for peace and amity, being able to do commerce on our lands because their territory didn't have enough for them to survive. So they were asking to be recognized, and they were asking to be able to do commerce so they can build their nation. So our Sultan, at that time, we were kind of in a little bit of a demise. Felt like, well, okay, we're gonna reach out, we're gonna allow these people who we allowed to come here, we're gonna represent them, protect them, and allow them to build themselves as a nation for themselves. But everything that they were building was not for us. It was for them. But the Treaty of Peace and Friendship was our interactions, our intercourse between us as the free inhabitants and them as the U.S. citizens. So that established the beginning of the bond and the intercourse with us and them. After that, along came the Declaration of Independence, where they pledged their lives and their heirs and their future prosperity to us, to be able to erect themselves as the United States. That's what they were declaring, that they wanted to be the United States. Then follows the Articles of Confederation. Now, the Articles of Confederation I have right here. Now, Article 4 says, the reason why they were doing it says, to better secure and perpetuate mutual friendship and intercourse among the people of the different states in the Union and the free inhabitants of each of these states. Paupers, vagabonds, and fugitives from justice excepted shall be entitled to all privileges and immunities of free citizens in the several states. And the people of each state shall have free ingress, meaning they can travel, do whatever they want to, and regress to and from any other state, and shall enjoy therein all privileges of trade and commerce, subject to the same duties, impositions, and restrictions as the inhabitants thereof respectively, provided that such restrictions shall not extend so far to prevent the removal of property imported into any state to any other state of which the owner is an inhabitant. So to me, do you have a question? Oh, I'm sorry.
Elaborate on that. If you notice with the word subject to the inhabitants, so we would have been the free inhabitants. So they would have been subject to us. You know what I'm saying? But they done flipped it around, and now we're subject to them.
I didn't let that happen. 1861, the signed deal, where they shut down everything and then they opened back up as a de facto government. And then they changed the Constitution from the Constitution for the United States to the Constitution of the United States, because of denotes without. So they're basically saying they're the United States without the Constitution, which means that they are treason. They are committing treason. They are traitors. They what? Pirates. They're pirates. They are bandits.
We experienced this one time. We went to court and they was bringing me out. When they brought me out, they said Abdullah on deck. Also the tribunal. They said Abdullah on deck.
And you will catch them saying that sometimes.
You know what I'm saying? They said that.
Wow.
And
like they on a ship. Yeah, like
exactly.
On the water.
That's their language.
And if you notice, on the back end of the movies, they used to show the admiral captain, he would have the curly hair, he had the robe on, he'll have this like a statue in front.
Captain Crunch, man.
Yeah, like he had the ship thing, and he'll have anchors and everything. They still have anchors in those courtrooms. They still have the ropes. They're showing you they have the ropes because they're pulling on, waving the flag. That's a signal that you do when you're on water, when you saying, hey, I'm coming through the port.
It's your banner of commerce. And it's not even a flag, it's a banner of commerce.
Yep, Star Spangled Banner.
Exactly. It's not even a flag. And they're telling people, oh, that's your flag. What is it to the flag? That's a banner of commerce. That's not a flag because they're not a nation. Because when you think about it, they're the federal government, not a national government. Anybody who's nationals mean that you are national to the land. If you go to China, they have a national federal government. Exactly. You come here, we have federal government, but nobody thought about it to be like, well, why don't we? Because they are different nationalities. They are immigrants.
Right.
So there's no way they can ever be a national government because they don't belong here. They high-pocket everything, and they're only a government on paper. The land does not belong to them. That's why anything you ever see when you get a court summons or something from the tribunal and it says the state of in all caps, because the state of is the municipality corporation that Sister Akila is talking about on paper, because they don't exist lawfully. So that's what they're doing.
You can actually find them on Dun and Brad's, which is basically business registration. And what the United States is supposed to be doing is they are a foreign corporation acting as a public service in order to allocate different things for the indigenous people.
Even though they're a private corporation.
Exactly.
So they're a private corporation acting in a public service manner. So because they put their self on the format as a public service, they have to act as a public service even though they're in their own private corporation interest.
So what they end up doing is every time you use your social security number,
it ain't even yours.
Right.
It's theirs.
Right.
Because it tell you on the back, this do not belong to you.
Yeah, exactly. So that social security number, that birth certificate, and you sign your signature on going to DSS, going to the public school system, going to the public library, anywhere you go and you use that, and you give them that access to that, they don't do nothing but form a debt instrument, and they withdraw from out of your account. Since you are foreign.
You're right.
And they make us pay for everything.
They make us pay for everything, we pay for everything.
That's already been paid for.
Yes.
It's all right.
Yes,
Right.
it is our fault.
On behalf of the United States, I would say the United States is one of the greatest corporations there is.
Yes, it is.
What's going
No,
on is,
because they're canceled. They've been out of business.
but listen, they're out of business while they're here, so let's face reality.
Why
They are
not?
still doing business, right?
We allow them to.
Okay then, so we can't say they're out of business. That's like the people say, well, the police can't do that. Yes, they can. They can do anything they want to do. However, there's something that you can do about it. You can't stop anybody from doing what they want to do.
No.
Right?
Let's stop that. Because you can stop them from illegal and unlawful acts.
They will stop themselves. You can't stop
Right.
them because you got people that run all the way to death doing it just like these Caucasians are doing. Many of them are dying, but they're continuing to run to do exactly.
They're running
so they
rogue.
got to
Let's
be
just use the
convinced.
right word. They're
Right.
running rogue.
Because they can't do what they want to do. They're running rogue due to them having the ability acting underneath of the facto government.
Right, see what
So
you're
they're
saying?
de facto government, they're acting underneath color of authority. They don't actually have a law of authority because color of authority and law is only a semblance of being, of appearing to be real because of what is not in place that is de jure. So because we fell off as the de jure government of being here, that allowed them to open up as ex post facto.
So they
facto
can
government.
do it if we allow them to do it.
Yes, but
because-
that's why we're not allowing them to
Because
do
they
it.
have remedies
Anymore.
for everything we talk
Exactly.
about, right? However, they gave us history.
Right.
So now it's up like you're doing a great job, and others all around the country and around the world actually are
Yes,
getting
yes.
the word out. Here's the thing. Unfortunately, I'm half 100 plus 6. But we gotta start now looking for the children. We gotta start doing this. We gotta consider all us really dead. And start living our lives through our children.
So like right now, we're teaching the heads. We're teaching the head tribal members to go back and take it to their tribes. You know what I'm saying? Like we have our tribe is 8. We have 8 children. So all of our children know we took care of all of our children's nationality. We teach them. They know how to recite proper persona. They know what jurisdiction they're experiencing the same thing we're experiencing, or they're having a better understanding of why they should not be a slave. And when they see you come with truth and you're always presenting truth, you always stand as truth, they can see the wicked. And so they know I'm not following the wicked. I'm not bending to the wicked. But it starts with us. So if we just learning it for ourselves and we're not teaching our children why we're learning, then that is our fault.
Exactly. And like I agree with you, brother, because it's the sins of our mothers and our forefathers and that came before us, because they have fell off. And it's been institutions, these temples that Prophet Ali set up. He set up the basic for us to free ourselves. He didn't give us everything, but he gave us what we needed to be able to free ourselves. But those who he left in charge as the gatekeepers dropped the ball. And they more so incorporate us and sold us out for their benefit.
He warned us too.
Exactly. So now we're in the state of waking back up to realize, okay, because it's a lot of Moors who went to temples 20, 30 plus years ago, who was thinking that they were doing the right thing and the proper thing, only to find out that they were still suffering the injustices. They weren't finding any remedy. So then that's when the Consulate came into play to see, okay, what can we do to give remedy to our nation? What can we do to make sure that these colonizers don't keep serving us and injuring us with these injustices, and making sure that we hold them accountable and change everything back over to the de jure government and how it was supposed to be. Because like they have a constitution, we have our own constitution. We have the Zodiac constitution for ourselves. We have everything in place for ourselves to be governing as a nation, but we just didn't know it. But now that we are aware of this, that's why we're having these meetings, that's why we're doing these things, so we can start giving support, we can start supporting each other with things that are going on, injustices that may be happening, because that's what they want us to do. That's what they have done to us. They have divided us. So we don't talk to each other. We don't express to each other what injuries or what pains you may be going through, or what it is that you may be having strife with in your life. Versus back in the day, that's all we used to do. That's all we used to do for each other. If you didn't have food to eat, we were coming over to your house to eat. If you didn't have something one day, you was coming over to our house.
You wouldn't talk about each other.
Exactly. And we was loving each other, loving on each other. Let somebody else say something, it's gonna be a problem.
That's right.
Because you're talking about minds. So it's gonna be a problem. When our children were out here acting up, doing what they were doing, it'll be somebody in the neighborhood that be like, oh, I'm about to beat your ass. And then go tell your mama, or either I'm gonna tell your mama know by the time you got home, you're gonna get another ass whooping. But today, a lot of us have become so afraid of the younger generation. We have become so disconnected with each other to even feel like we can't even sit and have a conversation. People want to always war with each other instead of having peace with each other. And unity is the key.
And a lot of it,
I think a lot of that is due to the fact that, you know, when we live in a generation where if I discipline somebody else's child, then that parent is going to want to fight me, you know, for correcting their child. And I think that causes a lot of problems in our communities.
you know what one of the issues is that we have not learned how to respect children. We want them to give us respect, but we not showing them what respect looks like. You know what I'm saying? So they have the same freedom of choice, and we have to show them, listen here, like my children, When they were young, I started off, they said, can I have that? I said, can you? You know what I'm saying? And if you can't, why? You know, start making them think. We're doing too much thinking for them. We're sheltering them. We're saying, oh, I don't want them to ever have to go through what we had to go through. No, they're supposed to go through things, because how are they going to know what the obstacle looks like when they get older? But if they become immune to it while they're younger, it makes it easy for them to go through things. And so when they go through it, it's like, that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to learn to have respect for other people because they're respecting humanity. That's what it's all about, uplifting humanity. How can you uplift humanity if you don't have respect? You know what I'm saying? You have to have respect for the animals, the earth, everything that exists. That is our duty. We were the gatekeepers, and we failed at our job because we got tired. We got tired. We allowed new innovations to come into our life to so-called make things better because we allowed somebody to beat us down, and we didn't want to stand up. We knew that it was many of us and only 1 or 2 or 3 of them.
Right.
We done already took all the ass whoopings we could take. Come on now.
I be wondering, like, well, how the hell did we say slaves?
But because nobody was willing to die.
Right.
That's what it all boiled down to.
Mentality.
Nobody was willing to die. Right now, our children is going out there and they fighting in society one another and will kill one another with no remorse, and they will go to jail and be happy they in jail because they, oh yeah, I did such and such, a little bit. And then they're going in and they snitching on one another because they got the new snitch rule. It's okay to snitch. But they use the snitching to break them apart. This man ain't even tell on you about nothing, but he just overheard a conversation, and he spread the word through other people, and now it's causing all this division. So, and then we're gonna release them out to the street because we already know that's how they solve these crimes.
That's how they use us. We just was watching that on Integral, Resurrection of Integral. Now, this is this show on Netflix, right? And it shows the rise of the Muslim empire, the Moors, but you know, they're gonna whitewash a little bit so everybody looking all pale. But you know, it's our story by the places and the things that they're saying and their customs and their traditions. They call each other bays and elves and half tribes. The Resurrection of Integral. It's 4 seasons.
It's on Netflix.
But what I mean, it shows how the Crusaders, the Knights Templars came along and used us to create confusion and chaos with each other, use people who wanted power and greed and stations, and would turn in their fellow brother and sister, would turn in their blood brother, their blood sister, because of a status that they thought that they were going to get from these Crusaders. And they would just sit back, and you would see them all in the cut every time. They'd be like, oh, we're not going to show ourselves. We're not gonna show ourselves, but they'll watch everybody kill themselves, and then whoever the survivor, they'll come out the cut and start killing the survivors that's left while their hands tied up. Not even doing it in an honorable manner. Let them fight with a weapon. They coming out when everybody broken down and slain, just like they do us today. Just like the policy enforcers do us today. They use you, they rule you and bait you with something, then they cash you out, and then be like, oh, well, such and such said this, so what you mean? Why you ain't gonna tell us this? They told us this, that, and the third, or whatever the case may be, and we have to understand that that's exactly what they are. They are policy enforcers. They are enforcing regulations, not lawful things, not lawful constitutional law. They're enforcing municipality codes and regulation and ordinances. So they are policy enforcers. And we need to stop calling them. Stop calling them, because why would you call a bandit to come and save you? You gonna call somebody who already stealing everything from you to come and save you? They're not gonna save you. They just want to come and know what's going on so they can look good to see if they can get something out of it.
Right.
Because they wasn't. Yes, they're gonna get it. They're gonna get it because they're gonna provide the service for you. That's why when you call, they say, "Is there a crime in progress?" If the crime may start, somebody can say, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you." Okay, let us know when they get there. You know what I'm saying? So now you gotta wait to die before you get some type of help. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna get it.
There was a Supreme Court case. A lady tried to sue the police. It went all the way to the Supreme Court. You know what the decision was? You know what the judge said? It is not the police job
To protect you. It's not.
But he's right. You know why? Watch this. Many people want to quote the Constitution of or for the United States. Both say you have a right to do what? Bear arms. It says nothing about go get a license or permit, does it?
Exactly, that's your Bill of Rights, and a lot of people don't even know that's
Watch
part
why
of
the
the
Supreme Court
Constitution.
judge says it's not their job to protect you. Again, it's not the government or the United States.
It's your own
It's
job.
us. Why? You have a right not only to bear arms, right? But since all the military does belong to the United States, that's why they wear dog tags, right? The American people don't have a military, do they?
No.
So you have also the right to form your own
Militia.
Talk to me then. That's their law. But we've been saying we was United States citizens, even though us in the room now know the difference.
But even their own amendments and our amendments from the Dred Scott says that we cannot be U.S. citizens.
So it's not they, watch this, it's not their problem, is it?
That's why Black lives don't matter.
Because black being fake as one of the things.
Exactly,
So
that's
fake lives
similar
ain't
more
none of that.
too. You're dead in the eyes of the law.
And
In
if
this
you're
book,
African
Black
American,
men are similar mortus, dead in the eyes of the law.
Yes.
So when they are killing us and abusing
Violating
us,
you.
and you wonder why they're getting away with it, that's why. Because they gave them the status and they decided that their status was more higher than yours and your life didn't even matter because you're a piece of property. And by them killing you as property, they get to go into your estate now. So why would I care that you died? Because now you expired. Now your estate belongs to me.
And, oh, hold on, let me break that down too.
Okay.
So the person who registered you, which was the hospital,
The bar, British Authority Registrar.
oh, okay, and the doctors at the loading dock, okay? So now everybody about to cash out on this bond.
Exactly.
But oh, hold it, don't forget to read those documents where it says the 3 little paragraphs small. You are gonna be liable for any what
Incurred.
and you will be responsible. You make them the inheritors of all and any estates that you may have. Most of the time, we think we ain't got none anyways. And so, guess what? We sign it. Oh, hold on. No, let me not forget this part. Oh, you also might sign off on that you will give them the right to your body parts.
Yes.
For scientific experiments. And then, the last part is that what is the last part? Oh, you give the government the right to access to your medical records. Okay, so now that sounds like a whole setup right there. From the beginning to the bottom. We're gonna first take your inheritance, okay? You're giving us the right to that, right? Okay. Second, we're gonna take your body parts.
Because
So-
we know you're made of something that's special.
Yes.
So we're gonna make sure we get it.
Yes, right? So in the third part, we're gonna let the government have access to your medical records. So the same people who is gonna take your inheritance is the same people who's in charge, right? So now you done gave all your stuff away. And matter of fact, we're gonna come get it early because you signed on the dotted line. And you didn't cross it out with no consent. You didn't want to be held liable because under the 1933 Gold and Silver Act, everything was already credited. So why would I be liable for something that's already prepaid for?
According to 1933 Gold and Silver Act,
Okay.
we already got unlimited credit.
Come
So
on
why
now.
are we paying for any debt? Everything was already prepaid that we want.
Come
And we
on.
need to be doing the signing for it and receiving it. I'm sorry.
Sorry, does that apply to, what is it called, House Joint Resolution 192?
Yes.
That applies to Moorish too, even
Yeah.
though we outside of the jurisdiction,
Well, it don't apply to us, but it applies to us as far as us using our lawful standing because we are the de jure. We are the sovereign, so we're using their law against them.
Okay.
But we know that according to
So
constitutional law,
if they like attacking your straw man, then like your non-McGarry, if they're attacking your non-McGarry,
it's
you
not
basically,
even yours.
right, but you basically like battling with the House Joint Resolution, like
That's what
you
I
cleaning up your straw man. Then.
Yes, that's what
That's
I
what
put
you
on
need.
all documents. All documents, if you know that law, you put that on there and you say no consent, not liable. You put all of that on there. You don't want to consent to stuff because you have the right to amend any contract. Just because they give you a contract don't mean you gotta accept the contract and you reserve all your rights.
You said you crossed it out.
Yeah, I cross everything
You
now.
got the right to
The
make an
whole
amendment to
everything on the paper.
Everything.
Right.
Everything.
If you want to, if you are contracting, because you have the ability to contract. If you choose a contract where it say name, cross out name, write appellation, and put yourself, but that's your sovereign right to contract.
You know, I just took my son to the doctors recently and checked his tooth. So, where it said name at, I put appellation, Abdul Hadi El Bay, had to put his name, Nazir El Bay. Appellation, I'm sorry. And then I crossed everything out and only filled out those things. They never asked me another question. They never asked me anything else to put on that paper after that. All they did was took care of, and the best, the lady was there in 20 minutes to come and take care of his tooth. I told her I had it in some milk. She took it out of the milk. She tried to fit it in, it didn't work. She said, I can do better. I can build it better and stronger. And she gave him the best service that she could. And it was all smiles. And when we walked out there, I didn't give no information, didn't even sign the leave. So it worked. I don't know if it's the name, but I know it's the status.
Yeah.
Yes. And according to the Constitution, Article 1, Section 10, no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law or law impairing the obligation of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. So that is saying right there that the only thing that's supposed to be paid in debts is gold and silver. So they have issued an unlawful currency on our land by them converting themselves under Admiralty and UCC law and taking away the gold and silver of 1933, which instituted them using the fiat on our land unlawfully.
What does remit mean?
Emit.
No, remit. R-E-M-I-T.
Oh, remit. Okay, let's see.
Well, remember, I have a question.
Okay.
When you receive correspondence from the quasi court that says that has your name spelled properly?
I got that. He tried to use, because I eventually got pulled over for the ticket. So
Me too.
he tried to, I never went to the tribunal. He tried to get me to come by saying he was going to issue a warrant. So then what he did was he tried to send something to my domicile in my natural, my ward name, but tried to use it instead of all caps. He tried to use the natural Brandy Douglas. So what I did was I called him and his clerk and told them, now is my intent to leave. You already had your notice of removal. I already sent everything of you notifying my status of whom I was, and you are acting unlawfully and unconstitutionally. This man will send me stuff telling me he gave me a warrant. Then he like, oh, well, I'll set another court date for you. Oh, well, since you ain't come to this one, I'll set another one. And he just keeps saying it over and over. Then he said, oh, I'm gonna suspend your license. And I called him, well, I don't care because I don't have a driver's license.
Right.
So that does not matter to me what you're talking about, because you're talking about something that's unlawful anyways. But I will get letter after letter. But now it's been that probably maybe about like 2 months since I received the last thing. But he'll constantly try to get me to contract or get me to come into the tribunal. And it's like, if they can't get personal jurisdiction over you,
You ain't gotta go.
they can't go to any subject.
Kill them with
And
the
this is
paperwork.
what you can also do, when they send you something, you can return to sender,
Yes.
put mail fraud with living beings, 940.18 USC, section 1341.
Can we see that?
Yes. And then, on the back,
Court next week.
on back you go this way, no contract, UCC, and go ahead, take a picture. Yes. He went to court because I have not been to family court. They call themselves kidnapping my children. He went, I didn't. When he calls me on the phone, he said, you need to come in right now so I can arraign you. I said, arraign? In family court? I said, I ain't coming nowhere. And you don't have the authority, the delegation of authority to order me to do nothing unless you got my fee schedule. Because if any orders, I got to get paid for these orders.
Right.
Nobody ordering me around. And if you're charging me, I need a receipt.
Right, that's what I.
And then that's what they're supposed to be doing anyways. When you go into these unlawful tribunals, tell them to present the bond so it can be satisfied. If they are claiming that you have done something unlawfully, well, present the bond so I can satisfy it. So it can be satisfied. They're not going to do that.
And, and sometimes they act like they're not gonna hear you, or they can try to overtalk you and all of that. They're not talking to you anyway.
They're talking to your straw man.
Yeah. And my first experience ever going through all of this process, and way before I even knew about nationality, I knew I was a servant of the Creator, the Most High.
Right.
And I knew I had my mission here on earth to preserve life and to preserve the earth and stuff like that, and that's what I was trying to do. And we learned about the common law rights, the natural people rights. So we basically put our stuff on file. We filed it with Monroe County Clerk to let them know that we was not going to be governed. We did not want to be part of their state anymore. Basically, we divorced the United States and all agencies and policy enforcement.
Right.
And just one second. And when I got pulled over, I told him, I said, the guy said, license registration. I said, oh, I don't have one of those. I said, at that moment, I thought I was a queen, okay? I said I was a queen. You ain't gonna tell me
Right.
who I am.
Right.
I know I'm a queen.
Right.
I know that's,
Let
you
him
know
know.
what I'm saying? So he like, what? You're a queen. I said, yeah. And you gonna recognize that. So I said, my status is on the record because I had turned my stuff into the
County clerk.
the county clerk and the mayor. The mayor's
Lovely.
assistants. No, this
No,
is
this
way
is-
back when Duffy was in.
Right.
Yeah, so at that time, I went into the office, gave my stuff, and so I had put my stuff on record. So I said, oh, call down to the mayor's office. They already have my stuff. So they like, well, you can't get this over right now. It's a Sunday. I said, oh, I got their number. So the officer, my door over here on the cars, my conveyance is open. So he looks, he see my purse on my little wallet on the chair, and he's like, is that your wallet? I said, yeah. He reached to grab it. I said, thief! Bow! Hit him in his head. He said, oh! And he took off running, slammed the door. I didn't see no officer. I seen a thief.
Right. For real.
You stealing
Right.
my stuff?
Right.
Why would you grab my stuff? Yeah. So he go run back. He tell the other state troopers, and they were all looking, trying to advise him. Like they was in a huddle too, and I'm looking in the mirror like I should just take off. He said, I'm not about to die today. And so I called my husband on the phone, tell him like, yo, hurry, bring me my papers, because I didn't have my papers with me on at that time. So they're trying to figure out what to do. They was at what's those things called, roadblocks.
Yeah.
So it was they were doing a roadblock and they were stopping people if they did not have a child safety. So that's what